my friends. How are you all doing? I'm doing very well. It is January the 13th of 2021. This video is entitled Albums That I Love That Others Love to Hate. Okay, so there are some albums that I definitely enjoy quite a bit, but these are albums that are not well liked by a lot of people within the metal community. A lot of people consider these to be very poor releases, and I'm sure some of you can definitely relate to this. I'm sure many of you like albums that a lot of other people don't enjoy, okay? Alright, and so I'm just going to go into these albums right now. Alright, let's get right into it. Okay, so coming up first is this album right here. This is Slayer with Diabolus in Musica. This was released in 1998. Okay, Slayer are definitely a very legendary metal band. They have so many great albums out. But I know a lot of Slayer fans consider this album to be like a low point in their career. A lot of people consider this to be the weakest or one of the weakest Slayer albums. Okay, and I suppose for good reason. They definitely went into a bit more of a bit of a different direction. They went to, I suppose, like a bit more of a groove metal type of direction. I know some people have said that this album incorporated like some new metal elements, and yeah, there are some slight new metal elements on this album, I suppose, but I still think it's a pretty strong album. It's definitely still very dark, heavy and aggressive. I definitely like quite a few of the tracks on this album. Okay, so this would have been actually the first Slayer album that I purchased. I purchased this when I was still a teenager. I believe I was around 16 years of age at the time. There was this metal guy in my school who was getting rid of his metal albums. He wasn't into metal anymore, okay? I don't know what his problem was, but yeah, he was getting rid of his metal albums, and so I decided to purchase this one from him. I will say this though, you know what, he wasn't a true metalhead, that's for sure, because once you're into metal, you're always into metal. But yeah, I don't know what his problem was, but anyhow, I bought this album from him, and yeah, I definitely enjoyed it quite a bit growing up, and I still think it's a pretty good album. It's definitely not one of my favorite Slayer albums, but I still think it's fairly good, okay? Alright, so this is Diabolus in Musica by Slayer. Okay. Okay, so the next album is Satoricon with their self-titled release. This came out in 2013. Okay, Satoricon are definitely a very legendary Norwegian black metal band. They have so many great albums out, but a lot of Satoricon fans do not like this album, and I suppose I can understand why. It definitely went to a bit more of a commercial type of direction, I suppose. It's definitely not as heavy as most of their other albums. It's definitely more melodic, definitely more catchy. The tempos are mostly like mid-paced, yeah, so, but I still enjoy it. I think it's still a pretty solid release. I think the songwriting is really good on it. There are quite a few songs on here I definitely enjoyed quite a bit, like for example the song Our World It Rumbles Tonight. I think that's a pretty good one. Also the song Phoenix, I think, is just a fantastic song. All right, yeah, I definitely enjoy this one. It's definitely not one of my favorite Satoricon albums, but I still think it's a fairly good album. Okay, so that's Satoricon with their self-titled release. Okay, so up next is Cradle of Filth with Amphetamine. This was released in 2004. Cradle of Filth are a band that have been around for a long time. I think they formed back in 1991. They are more of like a symphonic black metal band, or like an extreme gothic metal band. They have quite a few albums out, some pretty good albums. They're definitely one of my favorite bands. I know a lot of Cradle of Filth fans do not like this album at all, and I suppose I can kind of understand why. They definitely, I suppose, went to a bit more of a commercial type of direction with this one. But I still think it's a very, very strong release. It's definitely one of my favorite Cradle of Filth albums. I think the songwriting on here is very, very good. Lots of really good songs in here. For example, the song Gabrielle I enjoy quite a bit. Also, the title track Amphetamine is just a fantastic song. So I definitely enjoy this one quite a bit. And yeah, alright, so that's Cradle of Filth with Amphetamine. Okay. Alright, so up next is Soilwork with Figure number 5. This was released in 2003. So Soilwork are definitely one of my favorite bands. I have most of their albums. They're a pretty legendary melodic death metal band out of Sweden. Yeah, a lot of people aren't too keen on this album. I understand that. They definitely went to a bit more of a commercial type of direction. It's a little bit more rock and roll compared to a lot of their other releases. But it's a very strong album, I feel. There's a lot of very well written songs on here. So yeah, I definitely enjoyed this one quite a bit. I understand a lot of people don't like it, and that's fine. But I think it's a pretty solid album, okay? Alright, so that's Soilwork with figure number 5. Okay. And the last album here, I know a lot of people are going to be surprised by this one. Some people who know me might not be too surprised, but I know a lot of people will be surprised by this choice. I know a lot of people absolutely hate this album. They consider it to be one of the worst metal albums ever released, but I do genuinely like it. Okay. Alright, so this is Morbid Angel with Elude Divinum Insanis. This was released in 2011. Okay. Morbid Angel are one of my top 10 favorite bands. I absolutely love them. I have all their albums. I absolutely love that band. And this album right here, I definitely enjoy it. I understand a lot of people really hate it, and you know, that's fine, but I definitely enjoy it. I was definitely surprised when it had first come out. I must have been around 25 years of age when it first had come out, and you know, I was a little bit shocked, like a lot of other people, and but I definitely learned to enjoy it, and I think it's actually a fairly good album. I definitely enjoy a number of the songs on here, like Too Extreme, Blades for Baal, I Am Morbid, 10 More Dead, Beauty Meets Beast. I think there are some very good songs on this album. There are some very cheesy songs, that's for sure, but yeah, I definitely genuinely like this album. It's definitely not one of my favorite Morbid Angel albums, but yeah, it's a pretty good album in my opinion. I know a lot of people, like I said, really hate it, and I've definitely received some flack for saying I enjoy this album. I'm sure a lot of people think I'm completely crazy for saying I enjoy this album, and that's fine, but I definitely like it, okay? Alright, so that's Morbid Angel with the Elude Divinum Insanis. Okay, so those are my albums that I love, that others love to hate. Okay, so I definitely enjoy these albums. I know a lot of you don't like these albums whatsoever, and that's fine, and I'm sure some of you think that I'm completely crazy for liking some of these albums, and you're entitled to your opinion, and let me know what you think. Leave some comments, and I'm sure some of you enjoy albums that a lot of other people don't like, and feel free to tell me about those, because I'm definitely curious, okay? Alright, so I think that's about all I need to say. I want to say thank you very much for watching, and I want to say thanks to all the people who watch my videos and subscribe to my channel. I really truly appreciate it, okay? Take care, my friends. Cheers.